very moving, actually, to follow Gaetano, who is the president of SIBJO, and I'm exceedingly grateful to him for opening the conference. Now, there are people in here who know me fairly well. There are people in here we're meeting for the first time. And I feel as if we need to say something about why we are here. And so, in order to do that, the first thing I want to do is thank you for being here. We are so grateful to have you in the room, and for those of you that are with us virtually, in that way as well. We are live streaming the conference, and so there are people in many different places who are participating with us, and that is so greatly appreciated. At the same time, and there is a spiritual dimension to me, I hope you will feel the power and the magic of being in the room. And I want to start trying to answer the question of why we are here by reading you a short text, very short. And it was written in Cambridge in 1837. Just want to make sure I had my year right. 1838, my apologies. So it's Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it's the Divinity School address. And here is what he says. In this refulgent summer, it has been a luxury to draw the breath of life. I'm going to stop there. That's true. And we need to remember that. It is a luxury to draw the breath of life. Having said that, I got up, as I'm sure many of you did, and either on your phones or computers or old school like me, the newspaper. Here is an article about a gentleman who, Zaki Ahmad, who is 63 years old and is returning to fight for the right to secure HIV drugs. This is happening in Cape Town, and this is a result of, in large measure, the debacle over USAID. I also want to call your attention to a fantastic article that was written by a young woman called Sophia Barnett, who was one of the students chosen by Nicholas Kristof, who's a bit of my hero, to accompany him on a journalistic trip. Every year he picks one student and they go with him. And so she writes about women. And she says, I came to West Africa to report on girls' education. I left convinced that the Western feminist movement has grown far too comfortable fighting for itself. American feminism excels at diagnosing inequality where it lives. With USAID gutted, crucial support has already been pulled back from countries like Sierra Leone and Liberia. The girls I met know exactly what that means. Fewer clinics, fewer supplies, fewer safe spaces to understand how their bodies work. They aren't asking for pity, they're asking for a chance. She is calling on us all to think globally, beyond boundaries, beyond borders, much as Emerson was in his delight in the day. So what do? Hopefully, we keep our eye on the prize. And the prize is complex because We want a thriving, living planet. So that relates to ecosystem, that relates to human existence, which is society, and at the same time, what we do within culture to mark ourselves as creating one. So I hold up this ring, which is created by Emma Foucault, who is with us today. This ring is not separate from all of the discussions that we are having, but it is integrally tied to it, because this ring and other objects like it are the product of a whole supply chain, human talent, intangible resources, and culture, skills, craft, etc. And at the same time, they become documents of our culture. And when they dig us up, as we have learned from Greece and Rome, and as we will shortly hear about Ghana, one of the things that is discovered are these objects that are precious. Precious can mean many things. It may be a sacred shell. It may be this ring. But these things are precious, they are documents, they are records, they are also products of an entire chain. So, what I ask you to do is to look to your left and your right, because it may be that the person that you're sitting next to is not on one side, perhaps, is someone you know well, but on the other side may be someone that, if the divine is willing, in 15 years, you will look at and say, my kin, my friend that I've known, that I met at that moment. And that is one of the greatest blessings that there is the serendipity of encounter, of being together, of being able to talk through things, and to look at existing models, not because they are necessarily the answer for you, but because they may be the inspiration for change. So we're very fortunate to have in the room, for example, Cristina Villegas, who is so deeply involved with and responsible for Moya. Also, for example, Ruby Stocklin-Weinberg for Gem Fair. These are models, these are inspirations, and there is a wealth of expertise and heart and mind in this room to bring thought to bear, heart to bear on the questions that really challenge us broadly. So, I'm clearly a text-driven person. I'm going to read to you another one. One man with an idea in his head is in danger of being considered a madman. Two men with the same idea in common may be foolish, but can hardly be mad. 10 men sharing an idea begin to act. 100 draw attention as fanatics. 1,000 and society begins to tremble. 100,000 and there is war abroad, and the cause has victories tangible and real. And why only 100,000? Why not 100 million and peace upon earth? You and I who agreed together, it is we who have to answer that question. That was William Morris, and obviously a statement written in time. So if we were to think in a more PC, reflectively fashion, and I hope he will forgive me for tampering with the text, if it was one man and one woman, we might be talking about 200 million and peace upon earth. Another thing he tells us is the past is not dead. It is living in us and will be alive in the future, which we are now helping to make. That's our job, it's our privilege, it's our honor. I'm thrilled to welcome you all. I will later thank by name each of our sponsors because they make the work that we do possible. And not only do they support financially, but they support with counsel and thought-provoking questions. And in closing, I also want to mention the Future Initiative, which is basically the brainchild of two designers, jewelers, Lorraine West and Bliss Lau, both of whom have come to the conference for a number of years and felt that it was important and transformative. And they together created an idea for a mentorship program where we would have a student or budding professional as chosen in a process that has been, I won't go into, but it's very democratic, and they are mentoring a student each. So I ask you, we not only have one man with an idea, we not only have two women with an idea, but what can we do about tomorrow?